USASA and City of Milwaukee encourage all players, coaches, and spectators to demonstrate good sportsmanship throughout today's match. Profanity and any racial, sexist, or ethnic remarks, as well as any form of intimidation or taunting, will not be tolerated and may result in removal from Hart Park. Let's enjoy the match in a respectful and positive atmosphere. The United States Adult Soccer Association thanks Uihlein Soccer Park and all its staff for providing a fantastic venue for the national finals of the USASA Tournament of Regions. Milwaukee is a great place for adult soccer, and Uihlein Soccer Park is a premier facility. We thank Uihlein Soccer Park for hosting the tournament. The United States Adult Soccer Association would like to take this opportunity to thank Milwaukee Torrent for helping in hosting this event in Milwaukee. FC Milwaukee Torrent is a USASA member and is playing in the National Premier Soccer League, USASA's National Men's League. USASA would like to express great thanks to Wisconsin Soccer Leagues for welcoming this year's National Amateur Cup weekend to Wisconsin. Wisconsin Soccer Leagues is the USASA member organization in the state of Wisconsin. If you want to know about adult soccer at the local level, check out Wisconsin Soccer Leagues. Thank you to Capelli Sport for providing the game balls for this weekend's matches. Capelli Sport is an official sponsor of USASA. Fans, at this time we ask you to please rise as we honor America and all that it stands for, as well as our freedom and all those who serve to protect it, with the playing of our national anthem.
Fife, man. Good to have you back.
Good to be back. It's always fun doing intros on the fly. The other thing too was it set a countdown to 30, and we were kicking at 05 or at 35. Well, it looks like we're gonna kick it.
Yeah. Yep.
You may want to go on here.
Yeah, we're on, right? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome out to Uihlein Soccer Park
here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin at the Southeast Sales Power Sports Stadium, home of the Milwaukee Kickers. And today, we've got 4 matches on hand. Each game will have its own stream, so after each match today, make sure you click over to the different YouTube stream. But we start out today with the Men's Over 30 Tournament of Region Championship. Cheshire SC out of Connecticut taking on 1990 Queens FC out of North Carolina. That'll be our first game. Obviously, that'll kick off here in just a few seconds, maybe a few minutes. And then at 3 o'clock, Sporting TRFC out of North Carolina will be taking on Atletico Torino out of Chicago in the Men's Over 40 Championship match in the Tournament of Regions, again, Men's Over 40. And then at 5:30 p.m., the Women's Amateur National Cup Championship game. Pan World out of Region 4 taking on Capital Pride representing Region 3. Pan World yesterday winning 6-1 over the Rochester Lasers. Capital Pride having to go to a shootout after a scoreless draw through extra time with Green Bay Glory, then end up winning their PK shootout, ending early actually, just after 4 rounds. We got the thumbs up for our center referee, Peter Bernardi, and we are underway here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin for this Men's Over 30 Championship match in the Tournament of Regions. Last game of the night will kick off at 8 p.m. That being Westchester United versus RWB Adria. That is looking to be a great game. Early handball call against the goalkeeper, grabbing that ball just outside of the box. Good opportunity here very early in the match for Cheshire, just out of the 18. Standing over the ball, number 10, Tyler Carlos. Peter Bernardi, wearing a national badge as a referee. So very experienced man in the center today, just what you want for a championship match. In fact, it's not Carlos that goes for the shot. Instead, that was number 13, Miguel Cavanero. Goes out for a corner kick. So some early opportunities for Cheshire. That was Carniero once again on the corner kick. Some exciting games yesterday. Total of 5 matches played. A couple of which were behind us on the Pat Jones Field, but all games today will be played in this championship-style stadium, again officially called the Southeast Sales Power Sports Stadium at Uihlein Soccer Park on the north side of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. My name is Simon Provan. Thanks so much for joining us today. We've got a marathon of amateur championship matches. Starting here with this one, Cheshire FC, again out of Connecticut, taking on North Carolina's 1990 Queens FC. Cheshire in white with red stripes. Ball played across. In the box it goes. Man wearing the captain armband, Pereira Jr. sends this in. Opportunity again. Queens FC does well to handle. And looking to send this ball forward. Very early attack here from the men in white. And as Queens FC tries to work it out of the back, not able to do so. Carlos on the ball, just outside the box. Takes a few step overs, looks to play it in. Ball handled by Chad Pinnock, sending this out for a Cheshire throw-in. Canero to the outside, ball played in once again. No problem there for Bruce Modem, goalkeeper for Queens FC. Well, after 4 minutes of play, Queens FC finally gets over the midfield line. But Cheshire quickly regains possession and gets back on their attacking part of the pitch. Nice switch of fields, ball played in. That'll go out for another early corner kick. Thomas Vania of Queens sending that one over the end line. And we apologize if some of the last names are being mispronounced here. Working off of the roster given to us. But what really matters is what's happening on the pitch. Another corner kick sent in. Martin's on the ball, top of the box, looks to loft this one in. And some scary moments for the Queens FC defense. I believe looking for some counter-attacking football here. Herbstreit takes this one towards and into the Cheshire box. Misplayed as Chambers could not get a foot on that. Cheshire with the ball at midfield. Michael Lum. Foul called at midfield. Well, neither of these teams had to play yesterday, as we had semifinals in the men's and women's amateur sides as well as the men's over 40s, but men's over 30s, no semifinals needed as a couple of teams had to drop out of the tournament. So while later today we'll have to see teams deal with 90 to 120 minutes of soccer on their legs, both of these teams come in fresh today. And in the first 7 minutes or so, Cheshire with the better of the opportunities. But Queens FC trying to find their way in for their first shot on goal, or at goal, I should say, not even necessarily on goal. Yesterday in the Capital Pride Green Bay Glory game in the women's amateur semifinal that we called here at Power Sports Stadium, Green Bay Glory didn't get a shot on goal until the 65th minute of play. One of the many reasons that game ended 0-0 in regulation and after extra time. Only game going to PKs. And on the men's side, although we were not calling the RWB Adria and Say Word FC game, I understand there were 2 red cards issued to RWB Adria, but even with 9 players on the field, they still ended up winning their semifinal 1-0. So they'll be playing for that championship at 8 p.m. today against Westchester United, who took down Sin City FC in an exciting match that finished 3-2. Sin City getting that second goal in the 82nd minute, pressing big time till the end of the game, but couldn't find that equalizer. So Westchester United making their first appearance in a National Amateur Cup final since 2018. Again, that game kicking off at 8 p.m. tonight. Few traveling fans for at least one of the sides today. If my math is correct, a little bit more of a traveling contingent for Queens FC. Again, they are out of North Carolina, representing Region 3. Cheshire out of Connecticut, representing Region 1. Score remains 0-0 as we are in the 10th minute of play. Quick start from Cheshire FC, but things have calmed down after both teams have gotten a bit more comfortable. Queens being patient, trying to work this ball out of the back. Cheshire not pressing as much as they were in the first 7 or 6 minutes or so. Very compact field right now. Both teams very high lines. Queens FC trying to take advantage. Andrew Davis on the ball, plays it in. Herbstritt, the man he was trying to get that ball to, didn't realize he had a man on his back, but in the end, not the worst of results, as Queens FC does end up with a corner kick. Now here on the near side, Jacob Streaker handling the corner kick responsibilities. Ball headed out, only as far as top of the 18. Ball goes back to Streaker. Sends this one in. Ball still alive in the box. Striker back on it. Sends it in to the far side. And I have to tell you, from the press box, that looked like that was a goal, but went just wide off of Michael Nelson's head. Best opportunity, though, we've seen from Queens FC, finding a bit more confidence in their attacking third now. And just as we saw Queens FC work the ball out from the back, Cheshire also trying their best at doing so. Maremi sends it forward. Martin's on the ball, bringing this close into the box once again. Tries to lay it off, able to do so, but can Martins keep it in? No, he can't. That'll go out for a goal kick. Well, earlier in the week, they were predicting storms for Friday and Saturday. Thankfully, none of those storms developed Friday, last night. Did have some rain this morning, but taking a look at the forecast, it looks like, although we may get some drizzles here and there, we just might avoid, and I know I should not say this out loud, but currently looking at no storms in the area. So hopefully we get through all 4 games today without any weather delays. I'll tell you what, for the teams that played yesterday, they will appreciate the haze that's in the area and the cloud coverage, because there were times where that sun was getting a bit brutal, and that was just standing up here in the press box. Can only imagine what it felt like on the artificial surface, where tends to be 5 to 10 degrees warmer on these artificial surfaces, especially with those black rubber pellets absorbing so much heat.
On for Queens, Daniel Sayaj for John Hennon.
Sayaj coming on the pitch now for Queens as he replaces Hennon. Another shot towards goal, no trouble there. Another goal kick for Queens. Take a quick moment to pay some bills thanks to Michelob Ultra. When you don't compromise on the pitch, you shouldn't compromise off it either. Grab a Michelob Ultra, the superior light beer, as you cheer on your favorite team. Michelob Ultra, official beer sponsor of U.S. Soccer and the Amateur Cup. And while the official Amateur Cup games will be played later today, women at 5:30, men at 8, what you are watching now is the men's over 30 final of the Tournament of Regions. And while the score remains 0-0, and Queens looking to move forward, though quickly thwarted by the Cheshire defense. Had a few games with some altercations yesterday. And we do hope that, at least as things get started today, we won't see many altercations in this game or any others. But of course, when we're talking national championships, it's very easy for emotions to fly high. And that usually translating to some type of shoving around. But thankfully, from what I understand, no major injuries yesterday. And from yesterday to today, it is all about recovery at the moment for the teams that'll be playing later today. Center referee not happy with the level of inflation in the ball.
On for Queens 1990, Neil Woodworth and Mishak Sarko for Thomas Maria and
a couple other substitutions for Queens FC. Michael Sarkor, one of those subs coming on. And now the corner kick is taken. Sarkar with his first touch, heads it. Falls to the foot of a Cheshire player who just puts it over. Well, right now, Queens FC being the beneficiaries of some chances going wide and over the goal. And some strong but legal tackles in the middle of the park, much to the disagreement of Philip Surprise, as he had a few words with our center official, Peter Bernardi. Modem sends this ball forward. Queens doing their best to keep their shape defensively. Nice turn of the ball. From the Cheshire player. Ball goes out of bounds, throwing on the far side for Queens. Again, game being held up, so a ball with the proper level of inflation. Could be had back on the pitch. Again, if you're just joining, the score remains 0-0 here in the 20th minute of play. Cheshire out of Connecticut, going from right to left in their white tops, white shorts, red stripes. 1990 Queens FC out of North Carolina, and they're all blues with white numbers. Looking for an opportunity on goal. This one goes just over off of the foot of Herbstreit. And a couple of more subs now for Queens FC. Certainly a lot more subbing happening with the men in blue. Coming onto the pitch will be Brian Varank, along with Michael Lum.
On for Queens 1990.
And taking a break, 44, Andrew Davis and Michael Henson. So unlimited substitutions. Re-entries allowed in this men's over 30 match. Same rule for men's over 40. Cheshire with a full allotment of 7 subs today. Queens with 6 on the bench. Trying to take advantage of keeping their legs as fresh as possible. Throwing now in the attacking third for Queens. Ball put into the box. But again, quickly thwarted by Cheshire, but only as far as the 18. Now ball played back by Queens. Striker. Saw him spend a lot of time on the right side, now on the left side for Queens. Martins taps this back. Ball at midfield. Continue to see a lot of switch of the field from Cheshire, always looking for the diagonal anytime they have an opportunity for it. And while both teams trying to find that ball going over the back line, seems to be that Cheshire has done that a little bit better. At the same time, as we see there, Queens starting to figure out the Cheshire attack. Fabian playing this ball up, goes to the feet of no one other than Jacob Stryker. Cheshire doing a good job regaining possession almost as soon as they lose it. We are in Milwaukee, Wisconsin at Uihlein Soccer Park. We'll be here all day. What'll feel like all night as well, as we got 4 games on the docket for you. Looking for our first goal of the day. Could this be it? Cheshire says no, at least not yet. Michael Sarkor, the man for Queens FC, trying to get a turn at the end line, but he does win a corner kick, and he will be the one taking it. Ball sent into the box, headed, and that one also goes over the bar. Goal kick for Cheshire. Substitution for Queens. Kylie Lecce coming off the pitch. I'm sorry, that is 14 for Cheshire. That was Michael Nelson coming off the pitch. And John Hennon coming on the pitch for Queens FC. Sarkor there read that one well. Doesn't allow Shane Recklet to get a touch on it. And just as I say Recklet's name, the ball at his feet now. Carlos. Plays this to Canero. Switch of field all the way to the other side. What great speed from Leon Kerr. Kerr picks his head up, plays it in the box. Keeper will get there before Martins can get a touch on it. But certainly if you're Cheshire, you're going to want to find the feet of Leon Kerr a little bit more this half. Very quick winger on the right side. Play continues. Some fancy footwork there from Saez. Hannon playing this ball forward. Sarkor not able to get there, played a little bit too far for him. And this will be a goal kick for Cheshire. Couple of Cheshire players warming up now. As is usually tradition with these over 30s, over 40s men's leagues. Neither team with a coach handling subs by themselves, talking things through. In many ways, it's the spirit of street football, coming out to play and having a good time and working things out yourselves. Flag kept down. Martins, he's had a number of opportunities in the box. All alone, however, waiting for reinforcements. Looks like he may try to take this one by himself. Lays it off. Opportunity for goal. Hits the post. Pereira Jr. with the strong strike. It was a great play by Martins to keep that ball at his feet. Get past a couple of defenders. Perfectly laid off ball for Pereira. Best opportunity we've seen so far this game. I thought Martins, as he was alone for quite a while, may try to turn that ball himself. Very wise play from him. Score remains 0-0 despite that great opportunity. 28th minute of play. This is the men's over 30 final of the Tournament of Regions. Sarkor called for the foul, and now Cheshire will make a couple of subs themselves. Coming onto the pitch will be Gage Peralt and Manny Nobra. Looks like they'll be coming on the field for Pereira Jr., who just had that great shot but bounced off the post, and Miguel Canero. Moremi standing over this ball for Cheshire. We'll see what these fresh legs can do for the Connecticut club.
Substitution for Cheshire, Dave Peralt and Manny Nobra for Durval Pereira Jr. and Miguel Carniero.
And a tackle from behind results in a foul call against Tyler Carlos. Knew what he did, immediately shakes the hand of the man he took down, Michael Lum. Love seeing that good sportsmanship. And look, at the end of the day, this is men's over 30. And yes, it is a national championship. Certainly want to walk away with the cup in your hand. But everybody's got to go to work on Monday. And I think that's really ultimately, you come out here, you get a good run in, play some great soccer. You do play for a national championship. But you also want to make sure that the higher priorities in your life are the things that you can walk away from and return to after the weekend. Mitchell Ellis making an appearance for Chad Pennick. Ball sent forward. Moremi plays this back to Carlos. Carlos looking to play this long. Can his man get there? No, he can't. That was Daniel Fabian making a run onto the ball. Ball played just a little bit too far. Subs are fast and furious for Queens FC. A couple of players now returning to the pitch in the way of Andrew Davis making his return, as well as Thomas Vania. Striker coming off the pitch for Queens, as well as Michael Lum. 14 minutes left in the first half of this affair. Game remains scoreless. Cheshire starting out hot and heavy, lots of pressure in the first 5 or 6 minutes. And Queens FC doing well to just absorb the storm. Since then, both sides have had opportunities. Cheshire with the strongest opportunity. Martins with a beautiful pass off to Pereira. That shot took a bounce off of the post. Pereira's did, that is. Queens FC off of a couple of corner kicks, came close off of some headers, but nothing in the back of the net as of yet. Queens FC with a little more way in strategy of subs, seeming to sub every 3 or 4 minutes. Almost feels like, in that respect, an indoor game. Whereas Cheshire taking their time with their subs. Sean Buchanan on the outside waiting to come in, but on the outside with the ball, Leon Kerr sends this in. Bruce Modem doing well to come off his line, grab that out of the air. Quick distribution out to his right winger. And now Queens trying to quickly transition offensively. Nice sliding tackle, at least getting in the way, was Lecce. Without that tackle, Sarkor, you can bet, would have had a one-on-one with that goalkeeper. Again, another strong but legal tackle from number 25. My apologies, number 23, Sean Buchanan of Queens. Set of substitutions. Sean Buchanan coming on, his first appearance for Cheshire in this championship final, as well as
On for Cheshire, Sean Buchanan,
Jeremy
31
Chambers
player.
coming on for
For
Queens FC.
1990, Jeremy Chambers for Daniel Sayaj.
Sayaj, the player taking a break for Queens FC. Looks like at the next stoppage we'll have a couple of more subs, one from each team. We'll keep you updated on that as ball goes to midfield. Andrew Davis in the corner, trying to send this one in. Instead, it goes off of Maremi. And now here do come those subs for Cheshire. Philip Surprise coming on. Looks like he'll be relieving Diego Martins. And Chad Pinnock leaving the pitch, making way for number 4 on Queens, Michael Hansen. And as the players come on the pitch, Queens setting up for this corner once again from the near side. Ball sent in near the 6. And with a left-footed shot, hoping to put that one on goal, but unfortunately for him, Neil Woodworth nowhere near that goal.
For Diego Martins. On for Queens, Michael Henson for Chad Pinnock.
But give Woodworth credit for seeing that he had an opportunity for a full volley, went for it. Sarkor, top of the box. Ball goes to the feet of Davis. Davis takes a peek up, looking for perhaps a give and go with Hannon. Instead, Hannon dispossessed. Fabian plays this out to Buchanan. Tyler Carlos plays this at the top of the box. Couple of players wide open for Cheshire. Nobra plays this one out to Buchanan. Buchanan sends it in. Bruce Modem doing a great job as goalkeeper for Queens FC. In the box, Queens goes. No foul called. Nothing happening there. That was Mitchell Ellis trying to get around his defender, Christopher Carnero. But Carnero doing well, holding that play up, making sure his goalkeeper could come out and grab that off the pitch. Setsos, the goalkeeper for Cheshire.
Returning for Queens, Michael Nelson for John Hannon.
And Michael Nelson returns to the field as Hannon, short shift. Off he goes. I'm sure we'll see him again soon. Ball sent forward. Game really starting to open up a little bit more here. Both teams trying to stretch each other. Beginning of the game, it was such a short field, maybe 20 yards between all the players. Now we're starting to see both defenses play a little bit farther back. And even then, still seeing quite a bit of space between the midfield and the strikers. Again, for both teams, it's been very interesting to watch Again, I'm sure some of that is as this game continues on. Still humid out there. As you can see, particularly the sweat on Michael Nelson of Queens FC. So as these players get tired out a little bit more, it's only natural that they can't play as intense football as they were at the start of the game. Can even see here a little bit slower coming out of the back after Modem catches that ball out of the air. And with no one to play it to, elects to send this one very far down the field. Could this turn into an opportunity? We had a head collision. Both players seem to be okay, but it looks like, if my eyes do not deceive me, quite a bit of a head injury on Mitchell Ellis. Both players down grabbing their heads. Yes, Ellis does have a bit of blood coming from his forehead. Nothing malicious in that play whatsoever. Both teams pointing for a call in favor of them. I do believe our referee, though, did call a foul on Cheshire. With the bleeding that is occurring on the pitch, I'm sure that this will be a bit of a lengthy stoppage. At the risk of giving misinformation, I believe that was Lecce, number 14. That is down for Cheshire. Obviously, with these head injuries, both players will have to come off. Good thing is both players who are involved in that collision, eyes are open, sitting up. Ellis now on his feet. That's great to see. I'm sure both will undergo concussion protocol. Even here, we're talking about sportsmanship before seeing both these teams. Players talking to each other from both teams. You know, obviously you're always going to try to get the call for your own team and seeing it through your biased glasses. But Bernardi doing the right thing, going over, talking to his AR, who was in line with that collision. And we'll see what that conversation leads to, if it ends up being a free kick for Queens FC, or if there is a change in the call. Most importantly, though, at this point is the health of the players. Mitchell Ellis over at the trainer's table. Bernardi now talking to both teams, explaining what he saw, what the AR saw, why whatever his call will end up being is what it is. Again, great to see no scuffle whatsoever. It wasn't a matter of your guy did this to our guy. Quickly both teams went to their players and checked on them. You might not see that perhaps at the younger ages, but certainly, again, this being an over 30 game, health is the priority for everybody. We see Modem, goalkeeper for Queens FC, go over to shake the player's hand of Cheshire, who again I believe is Lecce. Everybody checking on each other. Trainers even coming out from USASA offering water to the players out there, and that is Lecce, who's now standing on his feet. Not sure if he actually took a hit to the head. I thought he did. If he didn't and the injury was elsewhere for him, he will not have to come off. trainer actually never went to him.
Mitchell Ellis, the injured Queens 1990 player, replaced by Jacob Stryker.
And Jacob Stryker coming on for Mitchell Ellis. Again, Ellis with the very apparent head injury.
Kyle Lecce, the injured Cheshire player.
And Lecce now having to take a walk-off, so indeed it was a head injury. And as the FIFA laws are written, player must go off, be evaluated. And it does look like, waiting to see if Cheshire, looked like they may have elected to go play short, but instead they will be bringing on Miguel Canero. Right thing to do, keep your team at full strength, unlimited substitutions. You can bring both injured players back at any time. No reason to play short and to wait for a player to have to be waived on. One of the benefits of having unlimited substitutions, and we are officially in the 45th minute of play, but we should have a significant amount of stoppage time, unless, of course, both teams have said, let's not worry about stoppage time, let's keep the game to as close as 90 minutes as possible. Bernardi wanting that ball to come back to where it was. As Shane Recklet wins the foul for Cheshire.
The official has indicated there will be 3 minutes of added time.
So 3 minutes of stoppage time here at the Southeast Sales Power Sports Stadium in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, on the Uihlein Soccer Park campus. The site of this year's USASA National Amateur Cup Championships. You're watching the Tournament of Regions final for men's over 30. Just got done with a lengthy stoppage for a couple of head injuries. We'll keep you updated on those as best as we can. Lecce currently going through concussion protocol with the USASA trainer, Mitchell Ellis, stemming the bleeding that was on his forehead. He certainly took the brunt of that collision. But again, good news that he did get up relatively quickly after taking that knock to the head, walked off on his own volition. This ball in, and there is a goal in stoppage time. Officially 45+1. Courtesy, I believe, of Michael Nelson. If I do have that correct, I believe it was number 14 that put that in the back of the net. First goal of the game. So about a minute, 2 minutes or so after the head injuries, Queens FC able to put this into the box, and Michael Nelson read it well, got his head on the end of it, far side of the goalkeeper. Nothing the goalkeeper could do on that one. I mean, Nelson was right in front of that goal, picked out his spot, climbing over everybody, making sure to be the only one to get a touch on that ball. Nelson playing center back today. Not a surprise to see a center back get a goal like that. Well, Cheshire not laying down, trying to respond quickly to that goal. We have surpassed 3 minutes minimum of stoppage, but Michael Sarkar wants this to continue with the ball at his feet as he tries to move forward and does earn another free kick, this one in the midfield circle. But before that kick can be taken, we enter halftime. Well, it's been a pretty exciting match. There were a few minutes of a lull, but both teams with plenty of opportunities in this first half. 1990 Queens FC, the only one to be able to convert, however. And that brings us to 1-0 in favor of 1990 Queens over Cheshire FC. And with that, folks, we will take our 15-minute halftime break. Make sure you join us on the other side. You are watching USASA Championship Soccer. This one, the final of the Tournament of Regions in the men's over 30. Welcome back to second half action of the USASA Tournament of Regions Men's Over 30 Championship match. Just about to get started here in the second half. Queens, 1990, up 1-0 over Cheshire. Very evenly played first half. Both teams with a number of chances, but Queens, the only team to actually able to convert, and that was in stoppage time. Off of a corner from Andrew Davis, Michael Nelson picking out his spot in the goal, and off of a header putting the team from North Carolina up 1-0. Now, to be fair, up until that point, Cheshire having the better of the chances, but not able to find the back of the net. We'll see what the next 45 brings. And here we go. Queens moving from right to left. Cheshire from left to right. Cheshire in the white uniforms. Queens in the dark blue. Unlimited substitutions. Re-entry allowed. Same will be for the men's over 40 game that'll take place next. That game scheduled for a 3 p.m. kickoff. The only way that would change is if this game were to go into extra time. Only one match out of the 5 that was played yesterday did just that. But I will tell you, based off of the first half, won't be surprised to see a few more goals in this one. It's just a matter of players being able to convert the chances that they have found themselves in. Surprise plays this ball back to Buchanan. Buchanan swinging this into the middle of play. Carlos. Going for goal there perhaps would have been better off. Looking to work that ball around a little bit more. Just the start of the second half. I'd prefer to see Cheshire be a little bit more patient, keeping possession, and really picking out a better opportunity to take a try on goal. Lum with a nice win at midfield. Revivo. Striker. And just an update on that head collision that we did have at about the 40th minute in the first half. Actually, we'll come back to that. Let's see what happens here as Queens looking to develop some type of offense, not able to do so there. Again, Mitchell Ellis, the player, number 12 for Queens, still being looked at by the trainers. He did get a knock to his forehead, which did cause him to start bleeding. And I think, as we all know, any cuts that are on the face, the forehead, they tend to bleed a lot. Make it look much worse than it actually is, but obviously still got to get that under control. And it was Kylie Lecce, number 14 for Cheshire, did go off the field, had to because of the head injury. And now we have Martins down, I believe. Yes, it is Martins that is down. Center referee points to him, says, "I see it." And now he blows the whistle for a foul, and we'll go over and check on Martins as well. But Lecce did look like that he cleared concussion protocol. And while I'm not sure if he is out on that pitch, I'll keep looking for number 14. I won't be surprised to see him return at some point in the second half. Martin's okay, back up on his feet. Free kick now for Cheshire. at about the midpoint of their attacking half. Carlos floats this one in. Nothing but blue shirts to where that ball goes. And Herbstreit earning a throw-in for Queens. Well, as we celebrate so much National Amateur Championships this weekend, make sure you stay with us throughout the day and night. 3 p.m. is the men's over 40 kickoff. That is followed by the Women's National Amateur Cup Championship match. That'll kick off at 5:30, Capital Pride taking on Pan World. And the nightcap at 8 p.m., the Men's National Amateur Cup Final. Westchester United 3-2 winners over Sin City, taking on RWB Adria 1-0 winners over Say Word FC. 5 total red cards issued in that match, including one to the head coach of RWB. And while things did get heated a bit between Westchester and Sin City, not to the point in which the Adria Say Word FC game got. In fact, from what I understand, referees needed a police escort off the field last night. So RW Adria, coming into the tournament, may have been the favorites to win it all, but having to play without, I believe it's 2 or 3 of their players that received red cards. Not sure if that tips the odds in Westchester's favor or not. But only one way to find out, and that's to tune in at our 8 p.m. stream on YouTube on the USASA YouTube channel. On the other side, looking at the Women's National Amateur Cup, Pan World, you got to consider them favorites in tonight's National Amateur Cup final. They took down Rochester Lasers out of Western New York 6-1. Meanwhile, Capital Pride out of North Carolina having to go to a penalty kick shootout with Green Bay Glory. It's not just because of that scoreline, but just figuring that Capital Pride has an extra 30 minutes of soccer on their legs. And from what it sounds like, pretty easy going for Pan World in their semifinal match. All games happening here at Uihlein Soccer Park. And all finals taking place at Southeast Sales Power Sports Stadium here on the Uihlein Soccer Park campus. Martin's the man that was down just before, goes down again, but all tackle is fair there. I should have said all tackles, as he was tackled by 2 players simultaneously. Another player down for Cheshire. Korab Marami, player down. Always interesting when you see the teams out there not saying anything to the referee, but the fans have plenty to say. Can Cheshire find the equalizer that they're looking for? Attempting to go for a shot was Fabian. Instead, ball goes off of a defender throwing. Buchanan, who took the throw, some nice footwork, now lays it off again for Fabian. Fabian trying to play this one inside. And a foul called in favor of Cheshire as Francesco Mazzella taken down, trying to get to that ball. This will be right outside the box on this near side. Well, this is more of what we saw from Cheshire in the first few minutes of this game in the first half. A lot more pressure, trying to keep the ball in their attacking third. But again, most importantly, even though they had plenty of opportunities, weren't able to convert any of them. Will this be a different story here as Tyler Carlos sends this ball in? It was well struck, but perhaps a bit too high. goes out for a goal kick. 55th minute of play now. Again, neither of these teams having to play semifinals as their opponents, or I should say, 2 of the 4 teams had to drop out. Whether they were against their opponents, who knows? But by virtue of 2 out of the 4 teams dropping out, these 2 teams automatically advance to this final. Martins just wide of the goal. A repeated theme today with Cheshire. Both teams now bringing on some fresh legs. Coming on for Cheshire, number 11, Duval Pereira Jr. And Jeremy Chambers for Queens. Coming off for Queens, number 6, John Hannon. And number 8 for Cheshire coming off, Manny Nobra.
On for Cheshire, Duval Pereira Jr. for Manny Nobra. On for Queens, Jeremy Chambers.
Martin's down again, wanting the call. Center referee doesn't agree. Play continues. Well, even after this tournament is over for Cheshire, they return home to play in the Shoreline Adult Soccer League. Currently sitting in second place, though they are tied on points for the top spot with Greenwich FC, both with 22. However, Cheshire
Also on for Queens, Michael Nelson.
have played 1 game more than Greenwich, and officially in second place due to their goal differential. While it's impressive, a plus 16, Greenwich above them is a plus 19. And Cheshire got here today by winning the Region 1 Gerard Mengel Cup. That is the Region 1 championship match. Beating out Christos FC 4-3 in a PK shootout after extra time, finishing 2-2. This ball in the middle. Once again, Cheshire not able to convert. Ball played in the middle, and it was Daniel Fabian trying to use every inch of his frame to get onto the end of that ball. Not able to do so in the meantime. Queens with a substitution. Coming on the pitch, number 7, Brian Brank. Taking another break is Thomas Vanya. Sarkor, player behind him. Sarkor still on the ball. Runs into 4 players, goes down, tackle from the side. Easy call for Bernardi, our center official. Saya is standing over this one. It's a possibility to take a shot from here, but Sayas elects to lift this in the goal. Number of players go down looking for calls. Nothing happening. And no trouble in the end for Setsos. Buchanan. Carlos playing this back to his goalkeeper. Ball on the far side. Both teams screaming for calls. One wants a handball called. The other wants a call for a shove. And going down now is Maremi near midfield. Meanwhile, play continues. Martin's in the box once again. Well done by the Queens defense, but only as far as the top of the box. And now Pereira Jr. fouled again right in front of our center official. Very dangerous spot now. And now Bernardi will go check on the aforementioned Maremi down near midfield. Starting to see players slip a little bit out there. We saw a lot of that yesterday. This surface here at Uihlein Soccer Park, when the humidity starts to settle, really gets slippery. Regardless what type of footwear you have on. It looks like the case for Maremi. Looked like it was a cramp, but as soon as Maremi got up, he had a few things to say to Bernardi. Not sure if it was some questions, looking for an explanation. But Maremi still having a tough time standing on his feet. He is then replaced by Leon Kerr, very speedy winger that we saw in the first half. And again, back to the free kick.
Leon Kerr for Cordob Maremi.
This one from about 22 yards out. Ball played directly into the wall. If you're Cheshire, you got to feel that as a wasted opportunity to do something. Queens content to keep everybody on their side of the field defensively. One thing we certainly saw from Queens in the first half is they keep their shape throughout the entire time that they're out there. A lot of communication, making sure they're shifting with that ball, not taking anything for granted defensively. And while Cheshire is not able to convert any of their chances, it has not caused Queens to fall into any type of defensive lull. Kerr in the middle to Carlos. Sends this out wide to Pereira. Back to midfield. Again, Queens keeping everyone back. With being in the lead 1-0 here in the 63rd minute, not feeling the need to have to take any risks. And as the time ticks away, we may see more risks taken by Cheshire. And obviously, the more this game goes on with Cheshire not able to find an equalizer, the more risks they should be taking. Plenty of time left in this one, however. Mazzella on the near side. Turn of the ball, plays it back to Buchanan. Buchanan picks his head up. Looked like he was going to swing it in. Instead, he elects to play it straight ahead. Ball in the box once again. Not able to make that final pass as Buchanan was looking for Philip Surprise. Nelson, your goal scorer in the first half. No foul called. Kerr coming from the other side of the field to help out here. Tries to play that into the middle, but instead, Queens 1990 right back in possession. All alone at the top of the box, lays it off, and a bit too far. That was Davis on the ball. Trying to lay that off for Nelson, but just a bit too hard. And again, as this surface gets a little bit more slippery, the ball is also going to run a little quicker. 2 substitutions now for Queens. Actually, it looks like 3 substitutions. 9, 6, and 19. Or 9, 16, and 19. That's Daniel Revivo, Neil Woodworth, and Thomas Vanya for Andrew Davis, Michael Henson, and I believe it was Herbstritt. Indeed it was. Miguel Canero lining up to come back in for Cheshire FC. Looks like he is replacing Francesco Mazzella. Mazzella very active here on the near side.
Cheshire, Miguel Carniero for Francesco Mazzella.
Finding the ball behind the back line. Goalkeeper comes out of his box, sending this ball forward. Smart choice by Modem. But now Sakor trying to find his way, is able to find his way in the box. Ball takes a bounce off of his chest. That'll be a goal kick. Clouds building up in the distance. It is showing that we might have some rain, perhaps around 3 o'clock. Hopefully it is nothing more than that. We got 3 more games to get through today. And obviously we'd love nothing more than to be able to play all 4 of these matches without any type of weather delays. Leon Kerr looking for a foul there. Not going to get it. Instead, ball goes out of bounds for a corner kick. Well, we saw at the end of the first half, actually in stoppage time, Queens get the only goal of the game off of a corner. Will they be able to double their lead off of this one? Neil Woodworth, who came on just a few minutes ago, standing over the ball for the corner. Nelson is in the box, but ball is played way too low and short. However, Queens still in possession. What a great shot! And an equal save. Jacob Stryker, having nobody on him, about 30 yards out, cracks it with his left foot. Ball had some nice bend to it. Setsos really had to watch that the entire way. Got just enough of a hand on it, however, to put that over the crossbar. That ball was wickedly bending.
On for Queens, Michael Lung for Brian Brennick.
Brian Vrank taking a break. Coming on is Michael Lum for Queens. Once again, corner just too low for what Queens wants to do with it. I say that, and they score anyway! The Cheshire defense caught standing watching that ball go around. Eventually, Daniel Revivo getting that ball in the back of the net. And although it was a short corner, Queens able to double their lead now here in the 69th minute. Goal officially scored in the 68th. So both goals, the end results of corner kicks for Queens. Well, one of the biggest cliche in the sport of soccer is 2-0 being the most dangerous lead you can have. Let's see if Queens keeps their heads about them. On the opposite side, see if Cheshire can take advantage and maybe find some vulnerability. Those were the thoughts of Miguel Canero as he takes a shot from outside the 18. Not much trouble in the end, however. So your goal scorers today: Michael Nelson in stoppage time, officially marked as 45th plus 1 minute. And now Daniel Revivo, 68th minute. And as we wait for this substitution to happen, certainly want to thank our big sponsor, Michelob Ultra. When you don't compromise on the pitch, you shouldn't compromise off it either. Grab a Michelob Ultra, the superior light beer, as you cheer on your favorite team. Michelob Ultra, official beer sponsor of U.S. Soccer and the Amateur Cup. And we've got plenty of Amateur Cup action for you. We'll have the official Amateur Cup Championships at 5:30 for the women, 8 p.m. for the men. And before that, we have this match, men's over 30 championship final of the Tournament of Regions. Following this will be our men's over 40 division. Less than 20 minutes remain in this one. Again, Queens up 2-0 thanks to goals in stoppage time in the first half and in the 68th minute in this half. Thiago Martins on the ball momentarily for Cheshire. Certainly one of the more active forwards for this Cheshire team. He's had a number of opportunities in the box. Kerr. Pereira. Buchanan near the box. Buchanan sends this one in. Good defensive play from Streaker. But once again, off the bar it goes. Pereira Jr., that is the second time today that one of his shots has hit the posts. And we do have a player down, but play continues as Cheshire looking for their first goal of the game. Now a whistle will blow so that John Hannon can get checked on. But my goodness, Pereira Jr., first half, very near the goal. Great layoff from Martins. And Pereira looking like he had an open goal. Instead, the ball hit off of the post just left to his goalkeeper. And now here taking a shot from about 25 yards out. Looked like it might curve into the side netting, but instead the post to the right of Modem became his best friend as the ball took a bounce off of that post. So Andrew Davis and David Siage returning to the pitch for Queens. Along with them, or making way for them, I should say, John Hannon, who was the injured player. And I believe it was Woodworth who did go off. Queens in no rush as Revivo, your second half goal scorer, taking his time on the ball, waiting for reinforcements. Gets a few of them, plays this to the other side to Davis. Davis plays it back, and ball goes right back to Davis from Nelson. Ball sent a bit too far. At this phase in the game, just about the final 15 minutes of play, you are up 2-0. No need to push the ball there. Just concentrate on possession. Take as much time off the clock as you can. And then if you see a clear opportunity for that goal, go for it. Martin's able to get behind the defender. But again, Modem there. Good idea from Tyler Carlos. But play continues in favor of Queens. Well, in yesterday's men's over 40 action, Belkin Powder Keg and Christos FC, both representing Region 1. They actually met in the Region 1 final. But because of a disqualification issue, both teams were qualified for the semifinals. And both of those clubs losing yesterday. So Sporting TRFC will take on Atletico Torino. Torino, a feisty club out of Chicago. Sporting TRFC, in many ways, an all-star team from that area of North Carolina, as it's really two clubs that have combined players. And while those two clubs still play in separate leagues, they combine some of their players together to play in tournaments. And they've done well in their Tournament of Regions, as they will be playing for that championship title at 3 p.m. today. Number of substitutions will be coming on for Queens. Michael Sarko, Michael Hansen, and Brian Varenk all returning to the pitch.
On for Queens, Brian Varenk, Michael Hansen, and Mishak Sarkor. For Chad Pinnick, Michael Lum, and Jeremy Chambers.
And play continues. Again, we'll see if Queens concentrates perhaps a bit more on possession here. No need to push anything, no need to take any risks whatsoever. And while Streaker lost that ball momentarily, was able to gain it back, but that also momentarily. Tiago Martins, we've seen his speed, we've seen his skill, makes a player fall down. Martin still on the ball, now in the box, goes down, and that is a penalty. And I can say from my angle that is a very clear penalty. Martins got past his man, and as he was running past him, the Queens defender stuck his leg out and caught the back of Martin's leg. And Pereira Jr. stepping up. Now on either side of the whistle, Pereira has hit the post, taking shots in the run of play. We'll see what happens as he takes this one from the spot. Can he make it 2-1? Yes, he can. 79th minute goal. Again, from here, certainly looked like a clear penalty, and while there were some arguments from the players, you're up 2-0. Player has gotten past you. No need to make such a play on the ball where you're putting yourself at risk and, quite frankly, putting the decision in the referee's hands. I understand Martins may have turned and got a shot off there, but Modem has been playing well today as goalkeeper. Perhaps a bit of miscommunication there from the Queens defenders. leading to the penalty kick. And Pereira Jr. able to convert it, making this a game now. Again, 2-1. It has been 2-0 since the 68th minute. So Queens FC is still in the lead here, 2-1 at Southeast Sales Power Sports Stadium in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, here at Uihlein Soccer Park.
The first Cheshire goal was scored by Uihlein Pereira Jr. It came on a penalty kick in the 79th minute. Pereira, PK, 79th minute.
Well, you would have to imagine that this is an emotional lift for Cheshire. The question is, how does Queens respond? Will they keep their heads about them and be able to see this win out? Will they start to find themselves playing a bit desperately defensively? Same questions for Cheshire. Got to take more risks than ever to at least try to find an equalizer. And by doing so, do they leave themselves too vulnerable? And allowing Queens to perhaps find that third goal. Only time will tell. Plenty of time left in this one. 9.5 minutes at least. We'll see how much stoppage there might be. So far, not a call for too much. Had a couple of injuries, but those were quickly dealt with. Ball sent in from Buchanan. Martins is there. Ball headed down from the Queens defender. Kerr doing a nice job continuing his run after laying off that pass. Kerr now plays it to the top of the box. This is Pereira Jr. We know he's got some striking capabilities. Doesn't show him there, however. And Queens sending this ball out of the 18, able to be kept in bounds by Vrank, but he sends it right back to Carnero, defender for Cheshire. Ball now up by Buchanan. Good tackle from Vrank. Buchanan will let this one trickle out of bounds. And now substitutions for both teams. Coming on is Neil Woodworth for Queens and George Percault for Cheshire. Adding to Queens is number 25, Chad Pinnock. Man was very active in the first half.
On for Cheshire, Gage Peralt.
As we wait for this throw-in to happen, we are in the 83rd minute of play. It looked like Queens were going to run away with this one, but things changed in the 79th minute thanks to a penalty kick that Duval Pereira Jr. was able to capitalize on. Score is now 2-1. Ball's thrown in. Queens happy to sit back in a defensive shell to try to see this game out. Only player forward is Revivo. Cheshire near the top of the box. Buchanan on the outside. Tries to curve this one in. Looks like that's going to go too far. Indeed it does. Another goal kick for Queens. And along with that goal kick, another substitution. Coming on for Queens will be Jeremy Chambers as he replaces Brian Varank. Again, unlimited substitutions. While it can be frustrating, you can certainly use them to try to kill off time on the clock. but certainly a great way to start the day here at Uihlein Soccer Park. Beautiful day for some summer football, and it has been a summer of soccer, hasn't it? Gold Cup, Club World Cup. And here on the amateur level, national championships as well. Leagues Cup about to kick off between MLS and Liga MX. Carlos, who certainly is deserving of wearing that number 10 for Cheshire, team's quarterback, and he has shown every bit of being able to command this team, Cheshire, as Kerr is on the ball. Striker playing strong defensively, helped out by Chambers, who wins the ball for Queens. As we enter the final 5 minutes of regulation. We'll see what our center official, Peter Bernardi, has to say about stoppage time. Sarkor still on the ball, taking his time, being patient. Smart play there as he had nothing but white shirts in front of him, waiting for some assistance. He gets some in the way of Jeremy Chambers, who's happy to play this ball all the way back to striker at midfield. And as Cheshire looks to press more and more, the guys in blue are more than happy to just keep knocking this ball around. Can be tough as a striker when you see you might have an opportunity to go at that goalkeeper, as Sarkor did. But again, commend that young man for his intelligence on the ball, realizing he had a bunch of white players shutting him down. And instead of trying to force the issue, turned the ball and allowed his team to keep possession. Cheshire now with a substitution. Leon Kerr taking a break. Victor Moya coming on for the club out of Connecticut. Revivo, one of your goal scorers today, held up on that ball, played it behind. Now a shot on goal. What a shot that was. David Saez looking to restore that 2-goal lead. Doesn't happen. But my goodness, I had talked about that. Unless you have a clear shot on goal at this point, just hold on to it. Well, that was certainly a clear opportunity. Go for it there. Try to seal the deal. However, now we're on the other side. Can Cheshire find the equalizer? Ball still alive. Foot save by Modem. Does lead to a goal kick. Now you are starting to see the urgency from Cheshire as they see there's less than 3 minutes to play here at the Southeast Sales Power Sports Stadium. Standing over the ball is Tyler Carlos. Short corner. Back to Carlos, the ball goes. Top of the 18, sends it in. Player is alone. Not able to get on it, however, as Streaker gets a touch. Ball on the favored foot of Martins. Trying to flick this ball into the box was Carnero. Ball on the other side. Less than 2 minutes to play. Strong slide tackle from Saez. And Queens will add another round of substitutions onto the stat sheet. Your first goal scorer, Michael Nelson, returning to the field. And Chad Pennick also returning to the field. Ball flicked on. Striker gets there first. We have entered the last minute of play. 60 seconds to go in this one, depending on how much stoppage time we have. Queens keeping everyone back except for Revivo, who seems to be tracking the center backs who may make a run forward. Modem smothers the ball. Taking his time as he walks up. Now distributes the ball out to Striker, who is streaking down this near side. Now turns it backwards. 20 seconds to go according to the clock in the stadium. Obviously, center official keeps the official time. Streaker sends this one down, trying to get this off to Revivo. In the end, may be a better result as Buchanan has to touch that one out of bounds. Streaker in no rush to take this throw-in. We are now officially in stoppage time. We'll see if we get any indication of what the stoppage may look like. There shouldn't be much, however. "30 seconds into stoppage. Jeremy Chambers with the throw-in. Queens in the corner just trying to hold on to possession. Instead, it'll be a goal or a throw-in for Cheshire. Revivo may disagree with that call, but nevertheless, we do have some substitutions happening for Cheshire. Pereira Jr. returning to the field. I do have to say, an odd time for Cheshire to make these substitutions, where over a minute into stoppage time, you would think you'd rather want to have a quick throw and cancel out that substitution. But that is what we see here, as Cheshire working hard to find that equalizer. Queens trying to be careful with their pressure. This ball goes over the back line. Goalkeeper comes out of the box, sends it to midfield, but only as far as Canero. Now Canero leads this ball off for Percault. Percault back in the middle for Carlos. Carlos takes a look up, elects to send this on a diagonal to the far side. Now ball sent into the box. Could this be an equalizer? Nobody in a white jersey in the area of that ball, but it did take a deflection, and we will have a corner kick here in what could be the dying moments of this match. Ball sent in, Buchanan. Perhaps a little bit too much time on the ball, but able to get rid of it to Moya. Moya to Pereira. Pereira looking to send this one in. The box falls to the foot almost at Martins. Calls for a handball. Play continues. Buchanan on the ball. 2.5 minutes into stoppage. How much more time is left? We will find out soon. Moya. Pereira. Pereira looking again for the goal. Not going to happen for him there. And yet another substitution. Looked like Cheshire was going to bring someone in. They are not. Instead, Queens is going to bring in 2 players. Brian Varank and Matthew Herbstreet. Coming off is Sarkor. And on the far side of the field, taking the short journey, Jeremy Chambers. Player cramping up at the top of the box. Perhaps it's for real. Perhaps it's simply as gamemanship. That is David Sayas who is down, trying to stretch things out. Trainer is called out. Next game will kick off at 3 p.m. That is the men's over 40 division in this Tournament of Regions. That final featuring Atletico Torino out of Chicago and Sporting TRFC out of North Carolina. North Carolina well represented here at Uihlein Soccer Park this weekend. Capital Pride in the Women's Amateur Cup. They beat Green Bay Glory. Green Bay Glory, the only Wisconsin team to feature here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin at Uihlein Soccer Park during this weekend of games. And to get here, they won their Region 2 championship match versus FC Milwaukee Torrent, who have helped host these national championships. Torrent playing in the NPSL and WPSL. In fact, Green Bay Glory and FC Milwaukee Torrent play in the same division in the WPSL. And while FC Milwaukee Torrent won both league matches, Green Bay Glory got the better of the Torrent in the Region 2 final, winning that game 3-2 after being down 1-0 at the half. Bernardi takes a look at his watch. Not sure how much stoppage time was left when those injuries happened, but Revivo takes a look up as he wins this ball. Looked like maybe he was tempted to try to play that one over the keeper, instead trying to hold on to the ball, but misplays that one. Cheshire perhaps with another opportunity, maybe a final opportunity. Michael Henson, of course, says no. Ball back at the feet of Revivo. And now Michael Nelson just sending this one forward. It does find the feet of Herbstreit, who makes his way towards the box, in the box, at the top of the box, makes a turn, thinking about shooting, instead plays this out to Revivo. Revivo in no rush, as no one is on him. He's just going to dance over into the corner. Try to hold on to this ball as long as possible as precious moments tick off of the clock. Officially at 90+7. Again, a lengthy stoppage for some injuries in stoppage time. So no matter what Bernardi had officially decided on minimum-wise, can only guess that we that time. But as it is, Queens 1990 FC 2, Cheshire 1. Cheshire looking for the equalizer. Queens looking just to burn as much time off the clock as possible. Queens will have to be strong here defensively, as Martins will find himself at the end of the ball. At the same time, flag goes up for offside. And while Martins may disagree, he clearly was a couple of feet offside. Queens in no rush to get this ball settled. Again, just playing long ball. And if possible, finding their striker, their lone striker right now, Matthew Herbstreit. Recklet trying to find Martins. Instead goes to the number 7 of Queens instead of the number 7 of Cheshire, that being Brian Varank. John Hannon. He will play this, hoping for Herbstreit. Not sure if Herbstreit found himself in a offside position or not. Either way, ball played way too far. Bernardi takes another look at his watch. I'm no longer going to guess if this is the final attempt or not, which means it probably is. Buchanan sends this in. And that will do it. Your champions for the Tournament of Regions in the men's over 30 division. 1990 Queens FC. As I had said, North Carolina being very well represented at this tournament, or at this weekend of USASA semifinals and championships. And the state of North Carolina claims the first trophy of the day as 1990 Queens FC will lift the Tournament of Regions Cup for the men's over 30 division with a 2-1 win over Connecticut's Cheshire SC. Well, we thank you for joining us on this broadcast as the players celebrate, as fans celebrate. We will be ending our broadcast for the men's over 30 division. Make sure you join us over on the broadcast for the men's over 40 division. Atletico Torino taking on Sporting TRFC, a Chicago team against yet another North Carolina team. We'll see you on that stream on YouTube. And until then, get some hydration, take a break, and join us for some more Championship Amateur Soccer.